The power of silence is often underestimated by many people. They do not realize how many lives, futures, and opportunities are destroyed due to the inability to stay quiet when necessary or desired. Some think that sharing everything with everyone will bring them closer, but when things fall apart, they can't understand what went wrong. Others may explode in anger in a moment and say things that should not have been spoken. One of these keys is learning to control our tongue. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, stated that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen twice as much as we speak. In today's video, we will discuss practices you can adopt to grow in silence. But before we proceed, I must mention that this video has reached you because there were other people like you who subscribed to our channel previously, liked, and commented. Now it's your turn to show the same love and support by subscribing, liking, and commenting on our videos. From the moment we are born into this world, we are taught to be expressive with our thoughts and ideas. Our initial words are often met with enthusiasm by our parents or guardians. However, on rare occasions, we realize that silence can be an equally profound form of communication. The act of remaining silent can clarify your own character, attitude, and goals while also illustrating respect for others and the environment. This can attract more interest than incessant chattering or pleading to convince someone who doesn't care at all. Speaking excessively and unclearly can weaken your power and strip away the perception of authority that someone with mastery over the subject would have. On the contrary, this only makes others lose respect for you and devalue you. Transitioning from wanting to talk to wanting to listen will be the pathway to unleashing your personal development. In many of our interpersonal relationships, we can utilize Stoic virtues such as temperance and wisdom as means through which we can improve or minimize relationship problems. Take, for example, Charles and Alex, both salesmen but with different sales philosophies. One speaks loudly and the other softly. When someone enters the store, Charles hastily attends to them and offers discounts they didn't even ask for out of his own pocket. This means that Charles loses part of the percentage earned on most occasions. The customer doesn't even want a discount, he or she is ready to buy. However, because Charles is talkative, he makes them decide not to purchase the product. Alex, on the other hand, has more experience in terms of sales and earnings. He listens and speaks at the right time. Alex asks intelligent questions to understand exactly what the customer wants. In this way, he is able to sell the product that the customer desires and consequently closes a significant number of sales. As a salesperson, the secret lies in speaking less but listening more to what the customers want to hear instead of saying what you feel like saying. This is a method that guarantees success in sales activities. Marketing is an area that allows application not only to increasing sales but also to other areas of our lives. A good activity for you to reflect on is to think about 3 things you have lost in life because you didn't reflect on this. Is it because once you start talking, you can't stop? Sometimes, the same way a person develops the habit of babbling, it becomes an addiction like megalomania. The condition and compulsion can be attributed by any individual in learning to listen and develop such a practice as speaking less. Stoicism is about personal development or the way we strengthen our character through mental training so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. For this reason, you must learn that the more you speak, the weaker you become. In contrast, the more you listen, the stronger your character becomes. Carlos could exhibit temperance by not offering discounts immediately. Instead, he would wait and see what his customer truly needs before making any promises. Temperance allows us to control our reactions as if we were using a remote control. This prevents us from overreacting, talking excessively, or acting impulsively. Additionally, wisdom is like a map that leads us to the most appropriate path and also guides us on when and how to act or speak. Regarding Alex, he is already working on customer satisfaction. He listens to the customer, asks intelligent questions, and then provides what the customer wants to know. Knowing when to speak requires wisdom. Let's imagine a practical experiment we can conduct to avoid excessive talking. The act of anchoring involves temperance and wisdom. Anchoring is a powerful technique for creating and strengthening mental associations between external stimuli and internal responses. For example, if a person is afraid of cockroaches, just hearing the word cockroach can make them feel terrified and distressed. This happens because they have created a feeling of horror through the word. The same applies to positive things. Think about chocolate, for instance. If you like it, your mouth might be watering right now. This can help us create mental associations that stimulate calmness. Start by choosing an anchor. Join our Stoicist journey at Buy Me a Coffee. Support with a donation or as a member and have a voice in our community. Every coffee fuels our mission to share wisdom. Be our pillar, make a difference today. If it's something physical, like a bracelet that can be placed on the wrist or stuck on the phone screen, that's fine. Don't worry about the words you are using. When you pick up the phone and see that elastic band, you feel silence because there is an association between the reminder and calmness. Practice this process several times until it becomes a habit. Then, when you are conversing with someone and feel the urge to talk too much, use your reminder. An important step in learning to listen instead of talk is to remind ourselves that silence also has a voice that, when used correctly, can change our lives in various ways. Silence changes the way you interact with others and also has a positive effect on your listening. You'll discover that by not speaking more than necessary, your words become more powerful and impactful. The most amazing thing is that when you speak less and listen more, you can learn new things and deeply connect with other people. Remember that silence is your native language and learn to master it. Do not reveal your plans just yet. Stay here, and I'll tell you about my project. Friend, it seems that I will embark on this new venture soon. There isn't 100% confirmation about it yet, but let me at least share the insights with you. Discussing your aspirations and efforts with others as a way to find encouragement and enthusiasm might seem like the right path at first glance. However, it's equivalent to self-destructive activities, something that mental health professionals have gradually discovered over time. People who talk about their plans before acting are those who almost never realize what they planned. There are people who never progress, getting stuck in life after declaring their intention to start a business, change behaviors, or undertake writing tasks. The feeling is the same because as soon as we name our goals, our brain releases happiness hormones, making us feel like we've already achieved them. Therefore, this can diminish your motivation to actually go forward and accomplish it. If your goals are yours and you are not concerned about sharing them with other people, go ahead and start reaching the initial step of their realization. Moreover, Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Roman emperors and Stoic philosophers, stated that if we place our faith in someone without previously investigating whether that person is trustworthy or not, the fault of credulity lies upon us. From time to time, even people can undermine our plans when we talk about them. Being subject to criticism and discouragement, the appropriation of your ideas, or disbelief in your abilities can lead you to doubt yourself, easily abandoning your plans and projects because of the negative opinions of others. Understand that there is no way to grow anywhere in the world without being hated by those who are stagnant. Nobody stops what they do not know exists. Therefore, if you do not allow others to be aware of your future action, you maintain the element of surprise and control over your own destiny. Seneca, the politician and Stoic philosopher, expressed in his letters on friendship that one must be prudent when choosing people to trust with their dreams. A true friend, as Seneca said, is someone who truly supports you and with whom you can share your intentions without hesitation. However, not everyone is like this in our world. Sometimes even those we consider close can fail us. Thus, it is crucial not to fall into the trap of naivety and learn to distinguish a trustworthy person from a deceitful one. Having small talk with someone is fine when something positive happens or when a dream becomes reality. However, it wouldn't hurt if you understood who and in which case, so your success will announce itself when achieved, and then the entire world will know. Therefore, share your dreams only with those who are ready to accept and promote further development in your life journey. Stoicism as an approach offers us a valuable viewpoint, teaching how to look outside our own box and perceive life from different angles. Being silent can be one of the most liberating and democratic virtues of Stoic philosophy because it makes us immune to the tyranny of response. It is common for people to ask our opinion on matters relating to the virtual space in phrases like, "Who would win Big Brother this year?" Or, "What do you think of this artist's body at the carnival parade?" Or, "What do you think of the most talked about issue this week?" But Stoicism also teaches a useful strategy: silence or refusing to form an opinion on these matters, reminding us of what was suggested by Emperor Marcus Aurelius in his book Meditations, that every minute spent helping the lives of others means one less minute for our own moral development. This philosophy can be used not just for casual conversations but also for communication with those who are closest to us. Therefore, whenever you want to share your unwanted opinion about your brother's car color or your neighbor's new car, think whether this will be appreciated. When we make comments about another person's life choices, it's an issue or situation that we find ourselves in that is beyond our control to overcome. Stoicism demands that we engage in our own lives, which implies that if there is excess time and energy, we should help rather than criticize others. Through this method, it's not just about building a good inner life for ourselves but also about encouraging us to appreciate a positive approach to action rather than making derogatory comments that create environments conducive to numerous opportunities for support and development. Perceiving what we say, develop the ability to think nothing about a particular situation and accept the fact that you don't need to give your viewpoint on everything that happens around you or let those things affect you. As Marcus Aurelius said, we have the power to move and shape human affairs because it shapes our judgment. Be cautious with meddlers. Some people rarely ask whether you want or need their opinion. They simply blurt out what they think or feel without much thought or any kind of introspection, and when questioned about it, they often try to excuse themselves by claiming they are open and straightforward. According to Victor Hugo, the French poet and novelist, you must be aware that being frank does not mean expressing all thoughts, but thinking about everything before saying it. Frankness is not a lack of respect because in our relationships, it is important to have boundaries. Not knowing these boundaries makes us say what we shouldn't at the wrong time or in an inappropriate place about things that we must ensure we do not passively wait for someone else to understand and respect without first communicating them. Sometimes it may seem that the wait will never end, but you need to decide when enough is enough and communicate your boundaries in a kind and respectful manner. Epictetus, one of the most esteemed Stoic philosophers, once gave valuable advice that actually fits well in such situations, advising a student struggling due to the conduct of his brother. He said, "Remember that everything has two handles, one by which it can be carried, and one by which we cannot hold," referring to some things in life over which we simply have no control. When someone invades your space or speaks uninvited, although you can't control what they will do or say, it is within your power to decide how you will respond. One possible solution could be an open and honest conversation with that person where you clearly state that you did not appreciate their behavior and will not tolerate it, as it could seriously affect the relationship between you two and could even result in ending the friendship. Taking such a stance not only prevents others from meddling in your personal affairs but also teaches them how to communicate with you correctly and respectfully. Setting boundaries is an act of self-care and helps establish healthier connections where both sides are valued. We must understand that there is a line that we need to defend and maintain. Epictetus also made an analogy with smoke in a house, saying, "If someone smoked in the house, if he smoked moderately, I am here to stay. If it's excessive, I leave." If you are that person, it's time to reconsider your attitude and dedicate yourself to self-development. You don't need to please everyone all the time. Silence carries so much meaning that sometimes, in specific moments, it becomes the most powerful response. There are times when we feel compelled to explain ourselves, whether out of a desire for approval, trying to please people, or just to create bonds with others. In truth, most of the problems in our lives are due to our inability to keep a check on our tongue. This was clearly demonstrated by Vanessa's example. After many months of financial difficulties, she was determined enough to educate herself about personal finance. She managed to settle her debts, control expenses, and even make investment plans. Finally, 1 month later, She sat down with colleagues at the office cafe and announced that she had finally achieved financial stability and paid off all her debts. However, things began to take a different turn. Externally, out of new projects over time, one of her colleagues, mistakenly believing she was in a better economic situation, began to redirect job offers intended for her to someone else. Indeed, Vanessa's oversharing led her to miss out on some job opportunities, which in turn would have allowed her to remain financially stable. Sometimes, we may want to impress others by revealing how we live without limits concerning our financial situation or our intimate life with a partner. It's interesting to note how we behave when no one is around. We generally maintain the expression of our emotions on our face, whether happy or sad. Additionally, Epictetus once said, "If you drink water, do not say for all to hear that you are drinking water," suggesting that it's not necessary to share everything we do in life with others. What this implies is that we should strive to live genuinely and simply, without being driven by the desire for approval or recognition from others. Epictetus instructs us in what could be called withholding something, as he says, being discreet involves making some private decisions which can strengthen our character. Sometimes you don't need to talk about everything and explain why you are doing what you do. The right answer sometimes is silence. Not speaking too little nor too much is perfect balance. This is the answer for all situations. Speaking too little can also leave doors closed, as the individual might think you are not interested or involved in the conversation that is happening. Moreover, it's known that talking too much can be annoying to someone and lead to an unpleasant situation, as happened with Vanessa. Therefore, finding a middle ground is very important. One must understand when to speak and when to remain silent, balancing the desire to express oneself with prudence and keeping some things to ourselves. Such actions help us develop healthy relationships and prevent many conflicts. Don't speak with emotional impulse. There is another story about Plato that is not so common, where once, in front of an incident that greatly irritated him, he realized he was being overly emotional and that it would not be fair to make a decision. Consequently, he asked his servant to resolve the issue. This example reveals how even a powerful philosopher like Plato understood the essence of managing emotions to make correct decisions. When you don't have control over your speech, you are being servile with words. Sometimes certain individuals exhibit excessive loquacity in the presence of much happiness and reveal their future plans before they become a reality or when they reach that point beyond which nothing can change the outcome, a mistake. Some people speak excessively when they are angry, and it is in these moments that most people cannot control their tongue and end up saying things that hurt. Understand that a spoken word cannot be taken back, and sometimes the wounds it causes are enormous. It's important to remember that in case of disagreement, it's better not to retaliate and cause harm, because seeking revenge on someone will only prolong the pain. Instead, allowing the other party to feel regret and remorse will ultimately lead to the acceptance of their actions. There are times when staying quiet and containing your thoughts can be beneficial, as it allows you to gather information and formulate a response wisely. Some emotions and experiences need to be processed internally before being expressed impulsively. Silence has its power. Quietness offers space to understand ideas, thoughts, and give an appropriate response. Staying silent gives you the opportunity to process things more clearly, since there are no disturbing voices inside your head that usually come with the need to express all thoughts immediately. Therefore, opting for silence in moments of strong emotion will allow you to take a step back and assess the situation with a balanced perspective so that you can respond thoughtfully and effectively. One should evaluate whether it is useful or not to harm someone dear. Will I be able to do what I promised? Emotion is an intoxicating agent that affects our reason and intuition in both negative and positive moments. However, without self-control, we tend to let emotions take over completely, obeying any emotional impulses. In the practice of silence, there is a way to know our thoughts and emotions that results in more personal and also spiritual growth. Being stoic is a way of life that leads to self-improvement. It teaches us how to appreciate silence, how to listen first, and reflect before acting. I admit that this is one of the most difficult Stoic practices for me, but the level of difficulty is equal to the amount of benefits it brings to our lives. I have suffered losses various times in life simply because I did not know when to keep my mouth shut. Therefore, I pray that this video and the knowledge taken from the story enter your life as a practice, and if you've managed to reach this far, comment with gratitude.